Hi guys, this is Dice of the Alexandrite system. So today I'm going to talk about how trans issues affect DID and how DID issues affect trans issues. So we have people of all different genders in our system. We have me who's queer, we have Sandra and Claudia who are trans women, we have Ellen who's non-binary, Susan is a cis woman, Robin is a cis man, Sunny and Lexi are both agender, and Beatrice is gender fluid. Basically, we have a lot of different flavors in the system. The weird thing about being trans and having DID is that we kind of have to count the body as having its own gender. So, like, the body was assigned male at birth. So we could technically say that the body is a man's body, but that doesn't really accurately reflect how the body is perceived by both us and by outside people. Most of the time, as long as we, like, shave and stuff, we get gendered as a woman. Even sometimes when we don't shave, it's weird now. So the outside world generally doesn't see this as a man's body. And on the flip side, internally, Robin, who's a cis man, is really uncomfortable in the body. Despite the body being male assigned at birth, Robin has some of the worst dysphoria of the system. Also, Susan, who's a cis woman, gets kind of dysphoric in the body, especially around like facial hair and stuff. So really, like, there's no winning for anyone. So most of the time we say that the body is a trans woman. Which makes sense, since Sandra and Claudia are both, like, the most frequent fronters, and they're both trans women. So we've been on hormone replacement therapy for almost 2 years now. Choosing to medically transition is, like, a big decision, and that's one that we didn't really all get to make together. I mean, we did, but we didn't. We didn't know about each other at the time, but we all came to our own peace with it. And the fact that physical changes were happening to the body was something that we each had to individually get used to at different points. So estrogen changes your face shape a little bit. It kind of gives you like more fat in the cheeks and less like around the jaw and stuff. So there was a period of like 2 or 4 months where every few days we would look in the mirror and whoever was fronting would be like, "Who the hell is that?" And just kind of going like, "Oh my god." Like, the changes weren't even really that big yet, but it was noticeable enough that each of us had to be like, "Oh, wow." So in addition to the hormones, we had an orchiectomy in May. So the thing about that surgery was that we scheduled it a few days before we knew about each other, but we actually had it like 3 months after we knew about each other. So during that 3-month period, we had to all kind of debate about how comfortable we were with it. And it took a lot more for some of us than others of us. Sunny in particular wasn't too bad about the actual, like, gender stuff of the surgery, but they were really nervous about surgery itself. And so we had to figure out ways to make them more comfortable with the idea of having surgery. We actually remembered an old episode of the show Arthur, where DW gets surgery, and it kind of goes through the whole process and through that fear that kids would feel. Really good, highly recommend it. We also did some research about, like, what happens when they put you to sleep. And we found out that you do dream, but you won't remember your dreams, and that you could influence what those dreams were, like by thinking about stuff right before they put you under. So Sunny loves the holidays. So as we were going under, Sandra and Claudia both tried their hardest to, like, visualize the holiday seasons that we would have kind of those themed dreams when we were under. I have no idea if it worked or not, because we don't remember. So in general, the orchiectomy wasn't a surgery that most people had a real opinion on, but if we were ever to get a full vaginoplasty, that would have to be a unanimous decision. Because 1, that's a big financial stake. 2, that's a big physical stake. Not to get too detailed, but internally we've all got our own stuff going on down there. And some of us are more comfortable with certain equipment than others. I do think at the moment we're leaning more towards doing it because more of us are more comfortable with that idea, but there are still some holdouts. And unfortunately, if we want to do it, we would have to convince those holdouts, because it's their body too. So at this moment, we're kind of at a happy medium where a lot of us feel this is a bit closer to how we want, and others feel like this isn't too far away from what they want. So for now, we're good, but it is something that we gotta think about. So here's the negative stuff. Trigger warning for transphobia. If you want to get full SRS, you basically cannot be open that you're a system. Generally, to do these kind of surgeries, you need letters from doctors saying that you are a stable enough person to do this, you really want to do this, you medically need to do this. And if you are open about being a system, not a lot of doctors are willing to say that you're stable. And if you actually know a trans person, or if you actually know a system, or both, you know that these things are more complicated than just that blanket statement. But it doesn't matter, unfortunately, because to cis people and to abled people, those arguments win out. And that's sort of where the intersection of transphobia and ableism takes place. Or I guess one of the intersections. It's a long street. But we really do feel like there is hope for the future. Trans stuff is becoming more accepted. It's a slow-moving race, but we are gaining traction. And an even slower-moving race is the race for system acceptance. But with more and more people who put their voices out there, more people see that this is something that is okay and even normal. So cis people in singlets, stick up for your trans friends and your system friends. We all need all the allies that we can get. And to all the other trans people and all the other systems out there, one day we are going to be able to be more open about this. I promise. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you next time. Bye!